Hey guys, this is Callum from EnglishShooting, and well, I'm sure there's a lot of questions and I will get round to answering as many as I can on them, but this video isn't about any questions or what's happened or what's going to happen, what I've been up to. This is a dedication video, and this video is dedicated to my granddad. He passed away shortly before I shut down the channel, and with everything that happened, I didn't have time to make a video to really to talk about it. And you know, my granddad was very important, if not the most important element in my shooting, because he is the reason that I got into shooting. He's the reason that I share the passion in shooting sports. And I know that I've made a video or two before on this BSA R10, and it became his, and now unfortunately it's become mine. I'm not going to talk about this gun, but instead I'm going to talk about one that to me is a lot more special, and is probably going to be the most special gun that I ever own, and certainly one that I will under no circumstances ever get rid of. And it's one that will be passed down to my children and hopefully their children, and hopefully, you know, many generations. This is the gun that I took my first ever shots with. It's a BSA Mercury in 2.2, and it's a gun that my mum and auntie took their first shots on, and it was my granddad's air rifle. I have, well, some of the fondest memories with this gun and with my granddad, and this is really what started it all. This really did start my interest in shooting and target sports, and that's all because of my granddad. Down the back of his garden by his shed, shooting at tin cans, Coke cans, you know, baked beans, whatever, shooting just homemade targets which were two bits of wood nailed together. But this really is the first trigger that I pulled, and that started it all. And again, unfortunately, it's now mine. It's part of my own collection, and it's very special. Air rifles, I think, are some of, if not the most important guns that we can own in the UK. Mainly because you don't need a license. Insert joke there. You can pick one up at the age of 18 with just a piece of ID down your local gun shop, and I think for a lot of shooters that, you know, go on to gain FACs and SGCs and shoot clays, you know, shoot practical shooting, long distance target shooting, they tend to start with the air guns. And with it becoming more difficult to get into shooting sports within the UK, we need to promote every avenue possible that just gets people pulling triggers. And this is a shining example in my case of, you know, I can't own firearms, I can't own shotguns, can't have an FAC or an SGC, but I can still be in possession of these. I can still take part in some sort of target sports freely and without restriction. And that's what we really need to promote. We need to get people pulling triggers and understanding why we become so passionate about the sport and why it's so enjoyable. The other thing that is very powerful about these guns, and certainly with my connection to these guns, is that it's mirrored in many other families as well. Most shooting families will have an air gun, or just any sort of gun that has more significance than it being a gun. It's a family heirloom, it holds memories, it makes you recall fond memories of people that may not be here anymore. And I find it very difficult to portray to people that you can have this emotional attachment with a gun. You can have an almost bond with a gun, and for people that don't shoot and have never had shooting within their family, they find it very difficult to understand and to comprehend, and they just think you're nuts. When I shoot this gun, all I can think of is my granddad, and different memories come back, and as time progresses, it's going to be harder and harder to recall those memories. But by going away for an hour with this gun and they flood back. So that's where the bond is, that's where the connection is. It makes you remember those fond memories, and it brings everything back, and that's very special. It's not about it being a gun, it's not about shooting something, it's that special connection of, you know, the memories when I was a small boy down at the back of my granddad's, you know, down by the shed at the back of the garden. It's everything that he taught me about guns, about safety, which I learned from a very young age, usually through the lack of safety in some cases. Yeah, he was very old school, very just your typical granddad, really. He didn't care much for how things should be done. He just wanted to get on and do them. So the first time we had a ricochet and it caught him on the cheek, I learned firsthand why you should be wearing eye protection. The first time that a pellet gets stuck down the barrel, and he teaches you to listen to what the gun is doing, to pay attention to everything that you're doing while you're shooting, because it can very easily go wrong and cause damage. Teaching you accuracy and teaching you how to breathe, how to take your first squirrel, take your first pigeon or crow. And these are things that I'm going to remember forever. So I'm going to have a few shots now and just enjoy it, really. It's, for me, air guns, I've never shot competitively with them. I don't really plan on shooting competitively with them, and it's just something that I do for the fun. It's very easy to continuously think about competitions and to be training when you're trying to achieve the top level, and it's just nice to have something that you can just completely clear your mind with and let all those fond memories come back. And I'm sure that if you're a big shooting family, you're going to have those guns, you're going to have those memories. And that's what I would talk to the aunties about. Getting more into other disciplines during the past few months. I've gone on my first game shoot. I've gone hunting, properly hunting for the first time. And it's all very family orientated. And in some ways, a lot of shooting families, it's not about the shooting, it's not about the guns, it's about the social element, it's about the bonding, it's about spending time with family members and making those memories. And that's just what people will never get if they don't try it. You know, I was very lucky to be able to take my parents shooting for the first time and introduce them into something that, you know, I love so dearly and I'm so passionate about. And coming back from it, they realise it's something that you can do as a family. You can do it, you know, instead of going out for a walk or going horse riding or, you know, going for a bike ride or all of the other things that families will do. You can go shooting instead. And again, that can be with the family air rifle, that can be clay pigeon shooting, that can be, you know, mini rifle. It can be a number of different disciplines. And even with practical shooting, the amount of couples that are shooting, the amount of parents and children that are shooting together. You know, the amount of granddads and grandsons that are shooting together out there. And that's really the most positive thing that we can show. So, if you want to get into shooting sports, if you want to start making those very fond family memories, go and get an air gun. Start your journey into this sport, and when those people are no longer around and that air gun is sat there in your safe, you're going to be able to have the same experience and look back as fondly as I'm able to. And my granddad, although he was, he started me on the journey to shooting, he's also the reason that I'm going to be starting the channel back up. He was very proud of what I was doing and loved that I was progressing as a shooter and that I had this passion for it. And really, I just want to do it for him. So it's not going to be this video that's dedicated to him. It's going to be every video, really. And I'm going to be doing it, thinking of him. So this isn't just a blip to dedicate to my granddad. There's going to be more. And English Shooting's back. So the next video I will go into a bit more detail and explain what's going on and what the plans are and what the future holds. But this is to my granddad, and I miss him dearly. But as always, guys, I hope to see you soon.